anybody doesn't know how to lay sheetrock, like how I did not know how to lay it a few days ago, I am going to show you in this video. And it's just me doing it currently because my husband is at work. He works very long days. And so it's just me here doing the work. So I have to adapt in ways to be able to just do it myself. So I don't have a whole crew, I guess, like how everybody else would. So anyway, if you're interested in seeing me try to tackle this, I guess stick around. You might hear water in the background, but that's because I have a fish tank in here. I have to raise it off the floor about ½ inch. So this green stuff is much heavier. And I've already pre-measured this, so it butts up perfectly to this stud. Alright, now I always check for electrical outlets. I see one right here. Now I know that they have a little stamp that you could set into the electric socket, and it will put a serrated dotted line boxed out on the back side so you can cut it. But my daughter touched it and I don't know where it walked off to. So I'm going to just, I guess, try my best. And I know a lot of people love to pre-measure their cuts on, actually I don't know if a lot of people do that. My husband does that. He'll pre-measure like where he needs, like according to the 8-foot and where the electric box is or whatever that needs to be cut out is, and he'll measure it on there and pre-cut it out there and then bring it in here. But there's been a few sheets that's been messed up because of that, so try not to waste any as much as I can. So I just try to guesstimate, and if I overcut it a little bit, I either try to fill it in, or I know that they do sell bigger, like if it's a light switch socket or whatever, they sell bigger plates to go on it to hide the bad job. So yeah, and I'm going to screw a couple screws in to hold it, and then I'm going to go get my tool to cut it. Right here. Alright, that'll be good enough. I'm going to do my other tool. There's my electric box in the wall. Be careful because there's a water line right there. I don't think that's too bad of a job. I mean, it's not a great job, but it does its purpose. It is the framer's fault. Sometimes it's also because the wood is kind of warped. And when you get the wood, it'd be all straight, and then after you put it up, sometimes it bends. So sometimes you could just add another board, screw another board behind it. And I might end up doing that. I'll just see how it meets up, because look, you have this. Where the top barely comes to the 2x4, but then the bottom down here almost goes all the way. It's about half, but that's kind of where you want it, is halfway in the middle of your 2x4. But yeah, you got about a ½ inch difference there sideways. So I'll just see. I might have to add another board back here, or you can just screw in sideways. because right here it's beveled a little bit, so it's going to be covered up by tape and putty anyways. Alright, now the fun part. So look on these 3 boards on top of this one. You gotta be careful putting these things up here, especially by yourself. There's been a couple times where I slip and it goes down and it smashes the corner. You can kind of work around it, but you still have to patch it, you know. Just more pleasure. Try to put these up to where you don't have to, with as least amount of lines. You want to put your boards up to where you have to tape as least as possible, because it is hard trying to get it smooth. You just don't want to deal with all that. All right, we got our 2 boards up, and now I need to measure this area right here. All right, so I'm gonna measure right here. You want to measure top and bottom because you saw how the board was, you know, uneven on the end right here. So I want to make sure that it's the same width on the top and the bottom. Alright, so I got 38 and 38. And sometimes if I'm unsure if it's too tight, I'll sometimes knock off a 1/4 inch or a 1/2 inch because I'm going to fill this in with tape. Well, I would always butt it up to the other seam as close as possible, but when I'm coming to a corner, I can deal with a 1/4 inch or a 1/2 inch too small because I'm gonna tape it anyways and putty it, so you're not even gonna be able to tell. Okay. Now that I got this, I'm gonna set this up here. Alright. I'm gonna use one of my scrap boards, and I'm gonna use the edge that's not cut. So I could just make sure that, just in case if I cut that edge on a angle, that it's not going to also cut this on an angle. So I'm going to use the straight edge. And I'm going to line it up on my marks, and I'm going to clamp them down. What I'm going to do now, my lines are lined up and clamped. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to, this is optional, I just like to do it just in case my clamp's actually loose. I'm just going to draw a line to the other line just to make sure that whenever I cut, I'm not scooting it over accidentally. And on the line. Oops. Move it a little bit, see? Alright. And then lightly push down. It's the edge. And then it's broke. It's just myself. Cut. It's almost middle. And then I start on the other end. So in case I need to use this edge piece on a window or in a small space on a door or whatever, I save it. Try not to let it get hurt. You have the option of using one board like this, the 38 inches wide by 8 foot tall, because that's how tall our ceilings are, is 8 foot. Or some people, to keep the same seam line, they will just use 2 pieces at 38 inches wide, and so they don't have to putty 2 lines basically. But I can't do that because we are definitely working on a budget, so we have to use every bit that we can. We have to have like as little waste as possible. So that's why I'm doing it this way. So it makes it a little bit more challenging, more, you know, lines to fill in and cover, but hey, you gotta do what you gotta do, you know. I really don't know what this is called. I'll just call it the shaver, and I'll show you. Alright, you see this line where we cut it? Sometimes it's not smooth. It's optional. I think it'll fit in my area, but I'll still do it anyway just to show you. take it and smooth it out. And also, sometimes if you do cut your board a little bit too wide, it won't fit. You could take this and just shave it down without having to bring it back and cut it again. Yeah, the shaver tool also helps if you're just needing to cut like a 1/4 of an inch off. Like say it won't fit in there, you're trying to fit it as snug as you can and it won't fit. You could just take it and just shave it down, or say your board's bowed, whatever. You could just shave part of it down if you need to, instead of having to cut it. Because if you try to cut a 1/4 inch or sometimes a 1/2 inch, even up to an inch off, a little bit at a time, it is very hard to cut it. It just kind of crumbles. It doesn't break off that easy. So sometimes it's just easier to use that. I get the screws in the top put up there, and yeah, that'll be done.